Good afternoon, guys, from a dreary, cold, windy South Florida. And just want to welcome all of you to the inaugural, the Anfield Dream podcast. And the reason why I say the Anfield Dream, because that's what it was for me. As a child, I grew up overseas. My parents were philanthropists and just lived all across the planet. And in that situation, in the 70s and the 80s, it was very, very humble beginnings, like so many. Uh, Football and cricket were pretty much the two dominant sports in that part of the world, and primarily cricket. But I always liked football. I remember getting my first boots. I was the proudest lad in town, as just playing on dirt pitches because grass was so scarce. Just playing on dirt pitches, and yeah, 70s, 80s, mid 80s roll around. Obviously, born in the US, but grew up overseas. Spent a good 30 plus years overseas, actually, in my lifetime. Um, Got back stateside, went to college, and they played this thing called soccer. Um, just a quick history on my situation growing up. Unfortunately, I was exposed to a very serious biological as a baby, just a few weeks old, and nearly died. And had some health challenges growing up. And so, got into college. I was just still a very young teenager, 15. I was 16 when I started. Really skinny kid. It was crazy. It was always an uphill challenge. No matter what I did, I was one of those guys that had to work, 10 times harder, 100 times harder than the other guy, just to even get a sniff at any opportunity. But, one thing about my character, all you got to do is tell me that I can't do it, and I'll prove you wrong. Well, long story short, wound up being, I played just about every single sport you can think of. But for collegiately wise, a couple of sports, soccer being, that's what they call it back here stateside, and played a little soccer, and that was that. Then we got into the working crowd, and my first quote unquote real job, and it's I just had the love for the game was always there, the love for the game, and you had and through that experience and certain contexts, was able to compete, throughout the country, and also play with a lot of folk, from European national sides, South American. You got to play at a folks, much more technically gifted people, which really, I enjoyed a lot. And then went back overseas and continued to work, doing what I can to do to serve my fellow human. So that being said, it's obviously this is the only club I have ever supported, and so coming to you, as an athlete and a mentor slash coach, just give you a perspective of somebody who's well traveled. It's not going to be a typical American perspective or a British perspective, as obviously I have friends there and family, a lot of family in England and around the world, and I'll get to that in a second. As you see, I have a little bit of Liverpool paraphernalia that I collected over the years. Obviously, it's extremely expensive to fly and travel, and just wanted to gather what I could. And my dream was always to make it to Anfield one day, and that day came in the 90s. A cousin of mine, good mate, an Albion fan. They literally lived just a stone's throw from the West Brom Stadium there, So um, drove me all the way up to Liverpool. And I must say the staff there were very accommodating. It wasn't your typical tour. He explained the situation, and they were very accommodating. They allowed me to do pretty much everything, but get on the pitch. And of course, I still have my original cap right there and the shorts. I still have the Liverpool sock. I mean, I literally kitted up all of it. I remember the shirt right here. It's so proud. I got my surname printed on the back. 5 was always my number, and I'll get to that in a second. And it was just such a surreal standing there. It was a very much different Anfield. I was, standing there in front of the Shankly gates and, watching those things open up and go in. And it was just, and going down the tunnel. And, it's just this is Anfield, touching that sign. surreal, just walking through, and they literally just let me go everywhere but on the pitch. Of course, they don't want anybody getting on the pitch, but they were so accommodating. And I've always loved Liverpool, not the club, obviously, but also the city. I get the ethos of the city. It's a lot of us go through some really, really challenging times, and sometimes, life is never fair. And but what I love about Liverpool is it doesn't matter what comes at you. We stick together. It's irrelevant to what religion, what race, what ethnicity, what none of it matters. You're Liverpool, and of course, there's the blue half of that. And it's. I mean, they're Liverpool too, so I'll give them that. But that's about as close as I'll get to the blue half because I'm a red through and through. Like I said, it is the only club I have ever really, truly supported. I dabbled a bit in some of the American sports, but it was really not my thing. I never really got into it. It was always about football, and that's where I wanted to, bring my introduction, to this channel. So my wife and family, especially my wife, always challenged me. Said, you're the biggest Liverpool fan I know, and you've played the game at a very high level. You've coached, you've mentored, you've traveled, I've circumnavigated the globe so many times. Had the privilege of impacting, in some small way, over 100 people groups, across the planet over my, well into my sixth decade now. I'm in my 50s. So it's just, yeah, it's just crazy. It's just, it's just, who would have thought, this, born in a small town, nowhere, Illinois, grew up overseas, very nondescript, just, a part of what my folks were doing to help folk in that part of the world. And then to have the privilege of done, what I've done. And it's incredible. Even my family got into it. It's just like I remember, when the quad season, my nephew and niece got me these socks. Do not disturb. Look at this. Uncle Rod's watching Liverpool. And one of these days I might do a reaction video, and it is hilarious because I really get into it. And it's just being a player. It's sometimes as fans we get so passionate, and we get so tunnel focused. We just want to see things done our way and our way alone, and we gotta just relax a bit sometimes and say, hey, it's the players know what they're doing. The coaches know what they're doing. They do have a game plan, even though sometimes we're like, what are you doing? And we question. And they are human beings, and they will make mistakes, but that's what makes it beautiful. It's a recovery. You can get kicked down, but you get up and you fight. The only thing I ever expected from myself when I competed was that fight. I remember it just doing countless hours of drills. I mean, we trained 5-8 hours a day, as a team. But besides the team training, I would still spend hours. I would be under the lights. I'd get up early. I would get in front of that goal and I would shoot because I was ambidextrous, left foot, right foot, header. I would just constantly shot after shot after shot. I would play pick a brick, literally outline. There was this gym I used to go to that had it was a basketball gym. It had these concrete blocks, right? So from across the other end of the gym, which is a little over 30 yards, I literally play pick a brick, left foot, right foot, instep, bender. It doesn't matter, and just shot after shot after shot until I hit whichever brick I had to pick. And it was just relentless. I remember doing, just relentless, speed drills. We used to call them suicide runs, but speed drills, foot drills, rapid, crossover. We used to call them ankle breakers in the States. It's basically, because even though, I'm 6 something, and at my peak I toned down about two and a quarter at the most, because I played multiple shows. I was probably about 245. But when I was in college, the first couple of years, I was just, like, I don't know, 170 pounds soaking wet. I was just skinny little kid, just skinny. I was a bit of a late bloomer. I mean, it was only when into my mid 20s where I really started getting very competitive. And all of a sudden bulked up, filled out, and now it was people were bouncing off of me. I mean, it's just, I played across the front for obvious reasons. I just love banging goals and for fun. It was always a blast, and I had a great engine. So then, and with some coaches, they play me, offensive mid, like more for box to box, but I also, had that streak in me where I love me a good crunching tackle when you can actually do crunching tackles, right? Nowadays, it's like a little silly little touch and they call it a foul and they're so inconsistent. We all know what's going on with VAR and the frustrations there and the constant reinterpretations of rules. We're like, it's like, what is offsides anymore? What is anything anymore? But it doesn't matter. When you have that fight in you, it's just, I always had to give whatever I did, the badge of the team I played for. One thing people could never fault me was that I never gave it 100%. And every top athlete I've known that's competed at a high level, we all always played through pain, through injury. We always did. Always. It was just a part of being an athlete, right? And it's just, and at the end of the day, it was all about, entertaining the folks. I still remember, I can still, from all these years ago, remember times where even the opposition just stood up and just, I remember one thing, this guy was just doing that, on the pitch, because it was just one of those moments. It's just, you're in the zone. I remember it was, every once in a while you get a young kid come along who's, pretty cocky and, and they think they're gonna, do whatever. Anybody who's played, there's constant trash talk going on. Well, let's just say I undressed this guy and dropped his jock. I mean, I literally isolated him, and it was coming. It was just asking for it. I said, all right, I'm going to teach you a little lesson here, and crossed him up, dropped him, went around him, showed him where I was going to put the ball in the back of the net, regardless. Just dribble through. I could always samba with the ball, because that's why I did all these speed drills, where constant crossovers. Playing without the ball, then playing with the ball, and just boom, put in the back of the net. I remember another time so distinctly. It was just beautiful. It was just I was covering for a right back in that particular time, that situation, because they'd bombed on. So I came back. And I sort of distinctly remember, doing this incredible header just across, like a 50-yard header. I met the ball, headed it, cross court, in stride, landed in front of the left winger, and straight on goal. It was just, there's so many things you replay in your mind, a billion things, and then you have also those things you wish you could have done better. You're like, man, I wonder if you should have made that decision, because you never forget these things. There's another one where up the wing. I mean, I always had wheels, right? It just always had this extra gear, which demoralized, especially when it came to the second half of the second half, when people are tired. You just put on an extra gear and you just blow by, whoever your defender is, and then you cross it in and just lay it on a plate for the center forward. And it's just, yeah. I mean, everybody who's ever played the game, you know that feeling, right? And then I have folks, who even family, they think they know soccer, but they really don't know. They think it's just, people just kicking a ball and what. I said, no, you guys don't get it. I mean, we're constantly making adjustments. We're constantly, we just know different play calling. Just the way we structure the team. You can go from, a 4-box-2, or 4-3-3, or just 4-3-1, or whatever. We just on the fly. We basically work as a team, and we feel out the opposition, and then we impose our game. That's how you play football, right? And when everybody's on it, you're not always feeling it. Sometimes you're not feeling it, but when you are feeling it, it is exhilarating, because you just know, man. It's just, there's no way on earth, these guys are going to beat you. You are going to just destroy them and just control them. And this is where, we do all the little flicks and tricks and funny things that you do just for fun, because you're entertaining the crowd. I remember the one time, it was just one of those things where, we were already comfortably winning, and want to entertain. You just have a little fun, and it just did one of those. Everybody has little tricks, right? It's just you just pull it off once, but because you want to totally like embarrass, they want the opposition fan thinks that you're just mocking their players. You're just having fun because you're entertaining the crowd. I remember one time, clearly, I just wrapped the ball, brought it, feinted right, went left, came back right, wrapped it around my back, went left, went right. The keeper thought I was going to shoot right, because I'm ambidextrous. At the last second, I made a commitment and switched left and just passed it into the bottom left, and there was no chance. I just dribbled through their entire defense. It's just one of those things. It's like, it's such a great feeling, right? And then when you're playing defense, when you crunch somebody, pick up the tackle, get the tackle, pick up the ball, and either precision, pass it in, just with, inch tupper, bender, whatever, or you just do a little dribble, or you just take it in and score. It's these are moments that you live for, right? It's just you live for. It's a passion, and that's what I have, for the game. So what I hope to accomplish, guys, is as just to share, what little bit I know of the game and the privilege I've had, and it is a privilege. Make no mistake, it is a privilege. It's for those who are able to go to Anfield every day. I've only been there once ever in my life, and that's the only professional stadium I've ever been to, because it is a privilege. A lot of folks, it's just cost prohibitive to just simply go to these things. And so I never take anything for granted, So we're going to be talking about a lot of that. And if you're in a sport or any kind of sport, whatever your dream is, if you have the opportunity to play, or compete, just consider it a privilege. Not everybody has that. There are a lot of people who live their lives, intrinsically to others, because they may never be able to, they never may have the physical or athletic ability to do, what you're able to do, right? So appreciate that. Never forget that. Ever forget that. I remember, when they won the Champions League, right? Got the autographed shirt. This is my wife's shirt, by the way. Mine I wore it so many times. It's out here somewhere, but it's faded. And of course, you guys remember that the one in the middle, right? That jersey back there. And that's what I proudly wore. It's just I went to the church with that thing on when they won the Champions League. And there's this huge Man U fan there, and he just looked at me and goes, "That's all he could do, just nod his head." It was so great. It was so great. I mean, I even still have my socks, man, from when I went to Anfield. It's just so excited, guys. And of course, it's I was going to start, reacting to games and reacting to, tactics, reacting to formations, reacting to, what goes in the mind of a player, what it takes to win, what it takes to work as a unit. I've seen so many teams. I mean, I remember playing, there was one guy who was very talented, obviously, I mean, it's, I'm a Liverpool guy through and through. I hate anything out of Manchester, and I hate anything out of England. And this guy was of a Gooner variety. He was actually a Gooner, a former Gooner. And, real typical, Londoner, just brash, arrogant, cocky, whatever. And these are the kind of guys I like to play against, because I like to, give them a little humble meat, right? Just take them out. But we were playing together for that brief time. And I mean, brilliant talent, but it's just, just very obnoxious. Why? My point being is, I see so many teams that, clubs, I don't even call them teams, I just call them clubs, that have a lot of great talent, but they play terrible football because they're just about individuals trying to do their own thing and showcase, that they're worth this, worth that. I would much rather play for a team, as a team. Obviously, to play for any club, you're doing something right, or you would not even have the privilege to even play for the club. So everybody's already very, very, very good at what they do. But when you can play, and without even verbalizing, you instinctively know, what the entire body, these 11 guys who are leaving it all on the pitch, right? And then whoever it is, we obviously bring on subs to impact, whatever. But whoever's playing, competing, you're leaving it all. I mean, I didn't care if I was playing, center forward or left or right. Like I said, I played across the entire front. I played through the entire middle, and occasionally I played in the back too. I even played keeper once, but I hated it. I hate being a goalkeeper. I just hated it. But it's just I would do anything for the team. But I was more, offensive mid is mostly what I played. And like I said, I love the number 5, and it's for whatever reason, it's a number I've always worn, so it's stuck with me. But it's just when you play as a team, it's just beautiful because you have each other's back, and you just know. I mean, it's like mental telepathy. I mean, you can do crazy stuff, especially when you're comfortably winning. You can start doing, entertaining the crowd. No look passes, chips, just little, that's where the South American flair. I love playing, with guys from South America. We had Brazilians, Argentines, you name it, we had them all. I played with all of them. I played with a lot of African sides. I played with, obviously, a lot of European sides as well, from different guys from different national teams. And yeah, it's just such a privilege, guys. It's such a privilege to be able to just get out there and do whatever, and hopefully do it as a team and have a coach's understanding, and that there are no cliques in there. There's no favoritism. There's no I. It sounds kind of cliche-ish, but there really is no I, and everybody knows their role, and they're humble enough. But everybody works so hard, even outside of the normal team practice, because we push each other hard. And when you get to the point that it is you're competing against, and you realize that, and not anybody else, and so you know if you're giving 100% or not, and that's all that matters. So anyway, guys, just want to welcome you to the inaugural podcast of the Anfield Dream, and I'm going to be sharing with you my dream, the dream called football, and the club, the only club I ever loved. My wife was always saying, if we ever we moved to England, I'm Scouse through and through. I get the whole Scouse thing. I get it. I get it. And you either get it or you don't. People that don't are going to mock you. Maybe they've never been through very hard times, difficult times, being treated by, whatever circumstances. But when things get rough, family stays together. You stay family strong. You stay Scouse strong. You never, ever give up. And you will never, ever walk alone. All right, peace out, guys. I know we just had another massive game. I'm so proud of the lads. 4-0. Took out Bournemouth and come up now back in the cup. With Fulham, and I will start. Just analyzing things and looking at individual players and how they, in my opinion, what they did, or where their growth's at, how they're performing, all of this, and yeah, God willing, someday maybe I'll get to be back at Anfield, and wouldn't that be phenomenal? But anyway, for all you Reds out there, you'll never walk alone, and all your fans out there, regardless of what club, I hope you're passionate about your own club. You should be, right? I hope you're passionate about your own club. But I'm just going to share, my feelings for the game and my love for the game and my love for Liverpool. All right, that's Liverpool Football Club, Anfield, the Liverpool Football Club. Peace out.